We can now go across to correspondent Pierre Benazet standing by in Brussels. Pierre, good afternoon to you. This is clearly good news for Ukraine, a country that remains at war.
Yes, quite the good news, and that's what the Ukrainians obviously hoped for. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has repeated it over and over again. There was not much suspense left ever since the surprise trip of Ursula von der Leyen in Kiev on Saturday next. She said that the Ukraine had done most incredible efforts in order to be ready to join the EU. The Commission had set out 7 early criteria, if you wish, in order for the Ukrainians to be ready. And these criteria have been fulfilled, at least 4 or 7 of them. There's still work to be done on the independence of the media, on the national minorities, on some aspects of the justice system. But as for money laundering and other topics, this is a good job. That's what the European Commission says. And Ursula von der Leyen says today this is a historic day. This is also the fact that enlargement of the EU will be a motor, an engine for peace and prosperity on the continent.
So this is clearly good news, Pierre Benazet, for Ukraine. But as you mentioned, there's still a long road ahead. Talk us through where member states stand on accepting Ukraine as an EU member state.
Well, these are exceptional circumstances. If you recall the last enlargement processes, you have seen countries which have been waiting in the antechamber of the EU for sometimes decades before they could be granted the negotiations candidate status, the opening of negotiations, even though they were candidates officially for years. This will be very different for the Ukraine because we know that the Europeans want to send a very strong political signal towards Moscow, obviously, and also towards the Ukrainians because they have always said that they wanted to support the morale of the Ukrainians. And this is a very political decision that they are going to take. We'll know in December whether they are divided on that, even though Viktor Orban is still on different stance as the other EU members, even though Robert Fico was elected in Slovakia and he has hindered a weapons delivery today. We will see the Europeans gathering on what they want to say because this is where they are good at. We've seen that on the Middle East situation, they have reached no consensus, they have no unanimity, which is something that they managed to do for the Ukraine.
Which is something they were called out for. Pierre, thank you very much for that. Pierre Benazet reporting there from Brussels.